Hello everyone, my name is Mark Battye. I'm the Subject Advisor for Pearson Edexcel History Qualifications. This Back to School update contains the latest advice and guidance for Edexcel history teachers. In this update, we'll be starting with a quick look at the Autumn 2020 exam series. We'll look in depth at the changes to qualifications for the Summer 2021 assessment. I've then got an update on our new GCSE history migration topic. And finally, I'll let you know about the new support materials which are available or coming later this year. Okay, so we'll start with the Autumn 2020 exam series, which has been put in place after the cancellation of last summer's exams. This autumn, we're offering a full suite of exams for GCSE and A-level history. However, qualifications will be withdrawn if there are no entries made by the entries deadline. For A-level history, there'll be no coursework in Autumn 2020. It's based on the examinations only. Only students who had entries for summer 2020 or those who can prove they intended to enter can sit the exams this autumn. We will be releasing the question papers from this series as past papers, but only for those topics which have been sat by students. If there are no entries for a particular topic, then that question paper will be withheld for use in future exam series. On the screen, you can see a timeline of key dates for this series. As you can see, the entry deadline for A-level history was the 4th of September, and for GCSE, it's the 18th of September. The AS and A-level exams will take place between the 5th and 23rd of October. The GCSE exams will take place between the 2nd and 23rd of November. The exam timetables are available to download now from our website. We're also offering a full suite of exams for international GCSEs in autumn 2020. As with GCSE and A-level, qualifications will be withdrawn if no entries are made by the entry deadline, which is the 18th of September. International A-level history is a normal October series with only certain topics available. However, all IAL topics will be available for assessment in the January 2021 exam series. And as you can see, the exam timetables are available now on our website. Now moving on, we're going to take a look at the changes to GCSE history and international GCSE history in summer 2021. These changes have now been officially confirmed on our website following the consultations which took place this summer. Please note that there are no changes to A-level history or international A-level history in summer 2021, so this section will only refer to GCSE. Okay, so let's start with the GCSE history changes in summer 2021. Following the Ofqual consultation regarding changes to the 2021 assessments, and to help ease the burden of teaching of all 4 sections, our centres will only need to deliver 3 out of the 4 components. Alongside the compulsory modern depth study, centres will have the option of choosing 2 of the following 3 components: the thematic study with the historic environment, the British depth study, and the period study. So just to confirm, paper 3 is compulsory. Everyone must sit this paper. You can choose to drop either paper 1, the thematic study plus historic environment, or one of the paper 2 topics. There are no changes to the assessments in terms of question style. We have to remove SPAG from paper 1, that's spelling, punctuation, grammar, to ensure it's comparable with paper 2, which doesn't have any currently. The paper 2 British depth study and period study are likely to be examined on different days. This is something we need to arrange with the JCQ timetable committee. Because the current exam time for paper 2 is 1 hour 45 minutes, it doesn't split up evenly, so we're going to make each of the separate paper 2 exam times 55 minutes each. There'll also be brand new entry codes available later this year. We'll be using the entry code calculator on our website to help teachers and exams officers with the new entry codes, and we'll notify you when this has been updated with the new codes. We've produced some detailed FAQs for GCSE history teachers on our website. The link can be found on the screen. These are some of the more common questions we're being asked right now. Are there any changes to the specification content for summer 2021 assessment? And the answer is no, there are no changes to the content in any of the 16 options on the specification. Do all my students have to sit the same 3 components? No, there's no requirement for all the students at a centre to be entered for the same 3 components. So for example, you could have some students sit in the Cold War and some students sit in Elizabeth. You just need to make sure you get the correct entry code and make sure they know which topics and exams to prepare for. How do I choose which components my students should take? This is a decision for teachers to make. Factors you may wish to consider include the scale of disruption this summer, which options you have yet to teach, and how your students are performing on each component. The decision will need to be finalised by the entry deadline, which is the 21st of February for GCSE exams. This is because you'll need to make entries for the specific topics and papers that students will be sitting, because they're only going to receive the papers that they're being entered for. One thing I know teachers are worrying about is how we will ensure parity between the different options, since paper 1 is currently worth 30% of the qualification, whereas the paper 2 topics are worth 20%. In the blue box on screen, you can see a summary of the current paper marks and the percentage of the overall qualification they make up. We're planning to keep the relative weighting of these components intact in summer 2021. So a student who sits paper 1, paper 3 and 1 paper 2 topic will sit 3 papers totaling 132 raw marks. Paper 1 will be 48 marks with no SPAG, making it worth 37.5% of the qualification. Paper 2 will be 32 marks, making it worth 25% of the qualification. And paper 3 will be worth 48 marks with an additional 4 marks for SPAG. So that's going to be worth, again, 37.5% of the qualification before the marks for SPAG are added. Students who sit paper 2 British Depth Study, the paper 2 Period Study and paper 3 will sit 3 papers totaling 116 raw marks. Each paper 2 topic will be 32 marks, making them worth 28.6% of the total qualification. The paper 3 depth study will be 48 marks, plus 4 marks for SPAG, which makes it worth 42.9% of the qualification before SPAG is added. So some students will sit a qualification with a total mark of 116, and some will sit a qualification with a total mark of 132, depending on which topics are taken. The grade boundaries at qualification level will be determined depending on which 3 components are assessed. We're now working through the details of how comparability will be maintained between the different routes, depending on which 3 components are assessed, to ensure that no students are disadvantaged by their choice of components, and will be issuing further guidance on this shortly. On the screen, you can see a set of grade boundaries for GCSE history from last summer. Every year we produce grade boundaries, and there are several for history depending on which topics are taken. The same thing will happen in summer 2021, except that some routes will be out of 116 raw marks and some will be out of 132 raw marks. There'll also be notional grade boundaries at paper level as usual. We'll be supporting you with lots of information and guidance to help make sure you understand these changes. Keep an eye on our 2021 support page for up-to-date information and guidance. I've also provided some links on screen to an overview of topics available in 2021 and an in-depth overview of the assessment options available. So having looked at the changes to GCSE in summer 2021, we'll now take a look at the changes to the international qualification. We've now confirmed these changes on our website following a recent consultation with teachers. As with GCSE, students must complete a compulsory element, which is the Paper 2 Section A Historical Investigation. Teachers will then have the option of dropping either one of the Paper 1 depth studies or the Paper 2 Section B breadth study. As with GCSE, there are no changes to the assessments in terms of question style, and there'll also be new entry codes to determine which options students will be sitting. So this is just a summary of the different options available in International GCSE in summer 2021. With option A, students would sit a Paper 1A with 2 depth studies and a Paper 2A with just the investigation. And with option B, students would sit a revised Paper 1B with 1 depth study and a Paper 2B containing the investigation and breadth study. The revised marks and timings are shown on the screen. We'll be producing more guidance for teachers soon to explain how the papers will be set out. As with GCSE, there are no changes to assessment or specification content, and there'll be no requirement for all the students that are centred to be entered for the same options. As with GCSE, we've provided some detailed FAQs for teachers and an overview of assessment options available. These can be found on these links on screen, and also via the support page for 2021, which was at the top of the slide. So that concludes our look at the 2021 changes for International GCSE. Just to remind you, there are no changes at all to A-level history or International A-level history in 2021. Moving on, I'm now going to talk a little bit about our new migration topic, which we're developing for GCSE history. As you can see from the title of this slide, the topic will be called Migrants in Britain circa 800 to present day, and it will have an associated historic environment on the development of multiculturalism in post-World War II Britain, focusing on Notting Hill. We're currently working with examiners, teachers and stakeholders to ensure the content is fit for purpose and engaging for teachers and students. The plan is to submit a final draft to Ofqual in October 2020, when we'll be able to release a copy for teachers. The topic will be for first teaching in September 2021, and the first exam will be summer 2022. This means you can still offer it to students starting their GCSE courses this September if you leave the thematic study to Year 11. There'll be lots of free support for teachers, and publishers will also be supporting the topic with textbooks. Obviously, this is all subject to Ofqual approval, so we'll keep you informed of progress. And finally, moving on to new support materials. Okay, so we've got lots of new support materials available right now. This is just a list of them on screen. So we've got a new guide to GCSE Paper 2 available now on the qualification page. We've produced some A-level history baseline tests to help you assess students at the beginning of Year 12. These work in a similar way to the GCSE baseline tests, which are already available online. We've created some new early Elizabethan England knowledge boosters for GCSE to help with knowledge retention in Paper 2. They're only available for Elizabeth right now, but we wanted to see what teachers thought of them before doing any more. Again, these are on the qualification page for GCSE history. Our new paid-for mock marking service is available online. There's a link on screen. And our publishing team is also working on a new revision app called Revise, which is currently free. And there's a link to it on the screen. In terms of the support coming soon, we're running autumn network online events for GCSE and A-level history. The dates will be available to book soon via our training page. We're producing new GCSE guides for Paper 1 and Paper 3 to go with the Paper 2 guide, which is already available. Other free support includes example exam wizard topic checks for GCSE, revision tips for students, and a GCSE Whitechapel Historic Environment teaching resource. Keep an eye out on our website for details of all these resources. I hope you found this session useful. If you have any questions about any of the things I talked about, please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much for listening.